Well, I suggest to slowly get started and I open the call and I think everybody now can join without us approving each participant. But if not, Philippe, I rely on you to open and to give access in case you see somebody that needs access on the right side of the screen there where the participants are. But I will watch closely myself too. Um, in case somebody wants to join us. Well, welcome everyone. I would say good evening, good day, depending from which part of the world you check in here today. We are talking about sleep tonight. That's the main topic. I think a lot of us, we are having some challenges at some point in life, if not always. Maybe not that extreme case as I was and as I will tell you in a moment, but hopefully you'll find today's presentations and our dear guest talk, Philippe, inspiring at least, or you'll leave the session today a bit more, let's say, rich in terms of solutions that you potentially did not discover till this stage. And before we go into all the details of the content, some practicalities. I wish that this is a bit more interactive at some point, and feel free to use the chat for any questions you might have. Or pick up the mic and start speaking. That's also an option. That's one thing. And another thing at the end of the presentations, if you really make it till that point, we love to have a picture together with everybody in here if you're not too shy, but if you are, feel free to keep yourself hidden. That's not an obligation at all. Now, without further ado, I would say a few words about myself and I let Philippe to introduce himself in the second part. So how we organize and structure the content. First, I will go through my journey with insomnia and sleep deprivation and how I came to the conclusion or how I came to realizing this project that I name it the child of my soul these days, Natural Sleep. And then I give the floor to our wonderful psychologist here who will go more into the technical details and I'm sure will provide a lot of tips and nice advices to cope with this condition. Now, my name is Dorina Torje, and a few elements about who I am. I spent my entire career, over 26 years right now, in tech space as an IT consultant. But in parallel with this, I also had my own personal journey with insomnia, suffering of it for 12 long years, and I was dependent on sleeping pills for that many years. And that journey ended up sometimes in 2024 when I concluded with my second burnout. And I will tell you in a moment how that challenge was overcome over the time. And today I'm a founder and sleep advocate of this project, which is called naturalsleep.shop, where we advocate for anything that's drug-free sleep solutions. And because nutrition is also a big part of the journey in that spectrum, I'm also building a team which we call Flourish Team in terms of prevention and franchise-like business. I am based in Brussels in Belgium, and when you don't find me working on any one of these projects, you definitely will see me somewhere swimming or in a spa. But now you might ask yourself, how did all this journey started? Well, it started in more or less in the same time period when, I don't know if you remember, or maybe some of you know, that Michael Jackson was put under anesthesia because he couldn't sleep. And at that time, I was just passing through an ugly miscarriage, and that was actually my triggering point. And after many, many nights when I was not capable to sleep, I get inspired by Michael Jackson's story, and I went here in the Brussels emergency room in one of the hospitals here near my place, And I asked the people in the emergency room, guess what, to put me under anesthesia. Now, what the doctor said, well, madame, here is Belgium, here the protocol is different. We don't do that. I said, fine. Instead, what they did, they handed over to me 2 exactly sleeping pills. They sent me back home and they said, come back in 2 days and see how that goes. And I kept going to the emergency room like this, each time with 2 different pills, till trying to figure out what is the right blend for me to fall asleep and stay asleep. 10 days later, they said, sorry, you cannot support you any longer. You need to find a specialist. And I said, wow, wonderful. Now I'm so sleep deprived that I need another task on top of me to find a specialist as quickly as possible. Now, as you know, probably if you, some of you live in Belgium, it's not that easy to find a specialist quickly, especially in this field. However, I kind of managed to put myself on a list for a sleep study, and I did a sleep study in one of the best hospitals we have here in Belgium, in Leuven. I spent a night there. That was nothing revealed in special, a special out of that exam. And then again, what is next? All the time, that was one of the questions that follow me along this journey. I managed to somehow find a specialist at some point, a young lady who was teaching me one of the techniques of CBTI, which is cognitive behavior therapy for insomnia, and as a gold standard for that, they call it sleep restriction. So basically what they advised me to identify a certain window during the nighttime when I commit myself, that's the start time and the end time where I'm committing myself to sleep. And based on my pattern of sleeping, we decided that my best window for myself should be between 2 a.m. and 7 a.m. Basically, that window should not be shorter than 5 hours. But for me, it was already a challenge because I couldn't sleep 5 hours altogether in the night. I would sleep 1 hour in a half here, another 2 hours there, and something like that. And the advice was to do not spend more than 15 minutes awake in bed during this time window. And if that's happening, to change the room and to move in another place, so to come back into the room once I feel already sleepy. And I had to document all this process, to keep a journaling, at what time I was taking my medication, at what time I was again awake and out of bed. Now, the whole exercise here, what they were trying to teach me was, they were trying to teach me to my body actually to associate bed exclusively with sleep. So I should not perform any other activity other than sleep. Now, extensively to that exclusivity, the bed should be associated either with sleep, with sickness, or with sex, but nothing else apart from these 3. But in my conditions, was absolutely sleep. And then we will review this journaling on a weekly basis, and we try to identify what kind of triggers and what kind of patterns I'm following depending on the different factors there. And I spent a lot of months and months before we found also the right blend of medication for myself, because I was still a high achiever and high performer in my profession. And my whole challenge was to be fully functional during the daytime and still to operate perfectly, like nothing is happening during the night. So that was the challenge, to find the right blend of sleeping pills. Now, here is how at the time my routine would look like, more or less. I would try to shut down myself with the pills around 10 p.m. because there are myths around saying that if you sleep before midnight, that's the best sleep. So I follow that. Today, I do not follow that anymore, to tell you the truth. But back in the days, that's what I knew. So my sleepy pills 10 p.m. and usually I was waking up between 2 and 3 a.m. Kind of almost 99% of the times. And sometimes, if I was lucky, between 5 and 7, I would sleep again. Now, my entire life was completely affected by this new journey, and I tried in 12 years, as you can imagine, many type of solutions and many things, but nevertheless, it was like, well, a life changing experience as well, So these are just some of the changes I did to my environment. So I put my blinders in the rooms, in the sleeping rooms. I try to regulate my room temperature, always 19 degrees or below that. Noise was a big factor, so the slightest noise, I would kind of be awake again. Humidifiers to control a little bit the quality of the air in the room, aromatherapy. I was obsessed coming from tech world to use all kind of biometric monitors to kind of identify any parameters in my sleep journey there. Travel kit, each time when I'm traveling, even today abroad, I have my little travel kit with blinders that I'm carrying around me, which is very light version. We have them in the shop as well. In case I'm ending in a hotel who doesn't have these dark blinders, eye mask. I started using smart alarms. Why? To wake me up at the end of the cycle, because I notice if they wake me up in the middle of the cycle, it's like I didn't sleep at all, even if I slept quite a number of hours. Mattresses, I changed a couple of them, pillows, lamps, you name it. Then I went into the functional changes in the sense that I had all kind of rituals. I had my light exposure in the morning. Then I took for 2 long years every single day cold showers. Why? Because I tried to signal clearly to my body that this is the daytime. And how we signal that is by with the cold showers, the cortisol level will increase in the morning, and hoping that by the nighttime, the cortisol level will shut down when melatonin should kick in. So all the time I was focusing on giving clear signals to my body when is the daytime, when is the nighttime. I changed my diet. I was vegan for a number of years. I was stopping eating after 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. I eat whatever internet would recommend, from banana to kiwi and so on. I tried numbers of massages, sauna, swimming, acupuncture, all of that. And now I don't know if you know, but this is one of the most asked questions by people in this condition on Google right now: how to sleep fast and usually at 3 a.m. I did that several times, and the frustration was always there, because when you Google and you get all the time the same results, some of them you tried, they work in the past and they stopped working in between. But then what else was available out there? That was my main question each time. Because you see, you get the same results, eventually you try them all. And when you're in that condition, you don't have the energy and the drive to go seek something else. While if I had, let's say, good night's sleep sometimes, I would try to catch up with all my workload that I was postponing because of my, sleep deprivation. So I was catched up in this endless loop. What else can I find as a solution for myself? I paid 2 travels back to India, first in 2011 for a Vipassana meditation. Was a transformational experience. I learned to slow down, which is something that I still need to practice. And then in 2023, so for some very strange Ayurvedic treatments that nobody would allow to be practiced here in Europe. What I learned, well, that nothing is permanent, or the good, the bad, you have to accept it. And I learned about the noble silence there. Now, in my desperation, I reached out even to Harvard Medical School at some point after I tried all the hospitals in Belgium for a clinical trial. I couldn't find many or any. And these guys from Harvard, they were so kind to me, and they replied with a list of 352 clinical trials of insomnia worldwide. I said, yes, one of this is going to fix me now. You're going to find a solution for my case. I diligently applied as many times, and I've been rejected as many times. And imagine the frustration to start again. What's next? At some point, I was so lucky to meet this absolute fabulous gentleman who lives here in Leuven in Belgium. His name is Dr. Gerbert Bax, an absolute fantastic person. Is around 85 today and is still working, and he kind of helped me tremendously to change completely my mindset. I usually say that he created a version 2.0 and 3.0 of Dorina over 6 years. He's today my spiritual father, is my person to go to still. It's a mountain of wisdom, and he helped me tremendously to put different lens towards my life. to look through different lens. So if you find a specialist, truly recommend that. And then in 2024, the pills that I was relying now for so long, 12 years, they simply gave up on me. Even when I tripled the dose, even when I went 5 times over the dose, I still couldn't sleep. And then I went back to my second sleep study this time. Nothing special revealed except from extreme anxiety and hyperventilation. And now doctors put me for the first time 30 days in medical leave. And I said, yes, never in my life I've been 30 days without working. So that must be sufficient to fix my problem. I was pretty naive because it took me 4 months before I managed to have my first night completely of 8 hours drug-free, all clubbed together. Because in that period I also decided myself to give up on the pills. The doctors didn't recommend me that. I don't advise you to do that. I had no other options. I was totally in extreme case, and I decided to quit the pills on my own. After I tried so many clinics back in Switzerland, in many other countries, where people could supervise me in going out of that addiction. Nobody was I was not successful in that endeavor, and now I end up in this situation. And I was in total 5 months in medical leave. Now, during that period, as I mentioned before, I learned one fundamental thing: to slow down. I mentioned I was a high achiever. I used to do 5 things per minute at least, and now I ended up in that I was in that position to do 5 things in a day. And those were the 5 things I was doing. I was either walking, I was eating, I was sleeping when I could, showering, and for the rest, completely meditating. It took me 6 weeks actually when I decided to quit the pills, 6 weeks before I found a therapist who was specialized in sleep, in burnout, and speaking English to me here in Belgium. And these 6 weeks, I can tell you, without sleeping pills, being on your own means ages, means forever. So what I decided to turn into my inner world and to sit down all day long and meditate. I was not trusting anymore my driving capabilities. I stopped driving. I was using Uber every now and then when I had to get out of the house. And the recommendations of Dr. Bax, even 2 years before, to read something about Thich Nhat Hanh, he was guiding me towards his book, but 2 years before I was not yet ready for his slow and embracing way of teaching things. But now, I was having no other options, and I really fall in love with his teaching. And when I was not meditating on my own, I was just listening, and I was reading in the audio format, because this is how I prefer to consume books, especially the book on fear, who kind of gave me some aha moments. And slowly I learned how to smile to my insomnia. If you know Thich Nhat Hanh, you know that he has this mantra: smile to whatever comes in your way. Today, by chance, I became a sleep advocate, and I'm going in corporates to raise awareness around this topic, because when I was suffering on my own, I was convinced that I'm just me, so crazy or so extreme case. But now, since I started my project, I realize, and I meet every single day people having these conditions of being in this suffering. And there are a lot of biases, so we cannot, it's a kind of still a taboo topic. We cannot expose ourselves towards our managers that we are passing constantly through sleep deprivation. And there is also another topic that I'm bringing at the table, which is chronodiversity. Today we speak about a lot of diversities in terms of gender gap, in terms of racial gap, in terms of sexual acceptance, but we do not include, we as human, we are much more different than just these 3 differences, and we should embrace our human being with all the differences. And one of the differences is that we are not all wired the same way. And some people are morning people, some people are late night people, like my case. I was top of my class my entire life, but still I hated school just because started in the morning. And in the workplace the same. So there are studies showing, for instance, in Australia, that morning people are perceived in the workplace as being more loyal, more committed, more hardworking, they get better promotions and better projects just because they are morning people. While people like me, which is late night, I'm as efficient as the morning ones, but we need to kind of change a little bit that bias in corporate. So that's one of part of my mission today as well. Is this coming? Yeah. And in 2024, when I was struggling going out of the pills, I promised myself that if I survive this moment, because honestly, I had moments when I thought, this is it, I'm going to die now, because you don't need to have a terminal disease to something bad happen to you. You can just be sleep deprived and you can be out of the wall, right? I decided that I need to do something in this space. I didn't know what and how, because as I mentioned, my background is completely in tech. But I capitalized somehow on the knowledge I acquired through the corporate, and I put together this project, which is called today naturalsleep.shop. And our mission, what is it? To facilitate the search. It comes out of my personal struggle. Remember, each time when I was searching something, same results, I was always in that question, what other solutions could be possibly available there that I don't know yet about, and how shall I search for them? So it's meant to be a source of inspiration or a go-to marketplace. Even if you are not finding something that is useful for you, at least it's giving you some ideas on what is the potential, can be considered a potential solution. And thanks God, today is the best period in a human history to live with this condition. Why? First, because there is a lot of research around the topic. And second, because there are a lot of solutions developed these days by many companies. And most of these solutions, they are maximum 3 years old on the market. So pretty innovative these days. Solutions that they were not existing back in the days when I was suffering of this condition. Now, a lot of times people are asking me, okay, Dorina, what is the best or what is the most important in sleep? Is it the quantity? Is it the quality? Well, as in nutrition, we need to take care of all the macronutrients, right? To have enough number of carbohydrates, to enough number of proteins and so on. I think it's a blend of factors that play a key role in there, but just do not, are you still with me? Because my screen went blank. Okay, I'm still here, great. Just don't overstress or get anxious if one of the pillar is not yet to the parameters that you expect. Yeah, so if you're not sleeping, I mean, in terms of quantity, the science says that should be between 7 and 9 hours of sleep in order to avoid cardiovascular disease and Alzheimer. Do I sleep that much today without sleeping pills? No, I don't. I'm somewhere between 6 hours, 6 hours and a half, but I don't stress any longer if I don't hit 7 hours in the night. The thing is, the quality for me is way more important, and one of the KPI or the metric that I'm using, if I had a good night's sleep or not, is how well I'm functioning the day after. So if my day, I'm still running the show as per my expectations, as per my standards of delivering a certain quality of work, then that's how I measure the quality of my sleep. Another thing is the quality of sleep is, well, if you're not waking up too many times during the night, that's also very important. And in some cases, people don't even realize that they wake up in the middle of the night because there are these micro awakenings that is kind of 1 minute or less than a minute. You just not consciously realize that you're awake, but that's it's interrupting your sleep. And that's even if you feel I slept like 10 hours, but I'm still tired, could be that that's one of the factors. And then regularity. I mean, be religious with your window. That's what I learned back in Leuven hospital when they were teaching me this sleep restriction technique. Choose your window and stick to that window regardless if it's weekend or not. People think that, well, in the weekend I'm going to catch up because I'm going to sleep till midday during the day and so on. So give clear signals to your body. We are kind of, biology, we are humans, we are like animals. We need clear signals when we need to go to sleep. And timing ideally should be sometimes during the nighttime when it is best timing. I mean, you cannot play football at 3 a.m., right? That's the time to sleep. Football you play during the daytime, exactly the same. Allocate a certain window during the nighttime as well, just to have a bit of darkness, which will help you with your melatonin level. And now this is the blueprint that we develop kind of in natural sleep. What we do, what is the journey through, or the process that we take you in case you decide to work together with us. First, what we do, we check if physiology is not in the way. I mean, something in your body is not preventing you already to not sleep. I can be either a sleep study that we do, we check the inflammation, we do other blood tests. So we try to eliminate any physical conditions in there. And then we look at your sleep history. We try to see whatever your solutions you are trying in the past, so not to offer exactly the same. Although don't get don't get confused by that, because you see it's very contextual. If a solution worked for you 3 years ago when you had a bad night's sleep or a bad week, doesn't mean that will apply exactly the same in conditions of your lifestyle of today. And vice versa, if something didn't work for you in the past, it's not necessarily true that will not work for you today. Now, if you're a device person like I am, coming from tech, first option for me, give me a device before talking to any people. So I would go for a biometric monitor to see all the triggers. And thanks God today there are plenty of these devices that can measure many things in your body without really passing each time through the doctor. And I'll walk you through some of them in a moment. Then if you're traveling, so for persons that work and travel a lot, we have these smart mattresses that you can carry along. You'll see in a moment, with low frequency vibration incorporated in it. We use it especially for the athletes, which they need to be all the time at their peak in different time zones. Noise mask, eye mask, have your travel kit with you, knowing yourself first. Now, work office stress. So sometimes people are stressed because they need to work remotely and or in the office. So we copy here the model of one of our partners in Finland. What the corporates in Finland do these days, they buy these more expensive materials for their employees and they rent it to their employees. If in the past employers would rent like books to develop for personal development, today it's very much necessary that, well, in some difficult situations we need to support our employees. And how we do that, for instance, they pass through divorce situations, they run for a promotion, somebody died in their family, different situations. So they don't really need to buy some of the devices which cost a little bit more. Now, if you're stressed because you work in remote situations, post-COVID, some people express that need. Well, there are all kinds of these vagus nerve stimulator that they catch the vagus nerve in different places of your body. For those who don't know what vagus nerve is the largest nerve into the system that is responsible for our self-regulation. And now there is a lot of research around this, and many companies developed all kinds of devices that they catch this nerve in different places of your body. And you'll see some examples in a moment for that. Then have your morning rituals, smart alarm, ice bath or cold showers, sun exposure, daytime. The light therapy devices, they are pretty popular today to regulate your circadian rhythm, especially if you're traveling across different time zones, but not only. A massager in the night, use the blinders, as I already mentioned, I use them. Cool bed sheets, grounding sheets, aromatherapy, humidifiers, and lamps. And now if you say, Dorina, I'm not into the devices, I have them all, but I prefer human interactions. For that, we created a so-called Dreamwell program. And here we really work with specialists. So we have 3 different packages that we offer depending on where you are situated on that journey. If you are just slightly or a little bit sleep deprived, then we have the package with sleep relaxation. And then what we do, we offer massage, spa, acupuncture. Now, eventually you pass through that phase already and you want to investigate a bit more deep down what could be the root cause of your constantly sleep deprivation. And then we go with the body and mind reconnect. And then we work with a specialist in CBTI, with life coaches, we do yoga, theta healing, and different specialists in there. Now, if you are just into close to the burnout, to hit the burnout, or just coming out of the burnout, then we have that package where we work with a burnout coach, we take you to the somnologist, we do a sleep study for yourself. And as I mentioned, there are a number of devices. We have plenty of them, over 500 products in our shop. I just want to quickly walk you through some of the most innovative and top-notch technologies that exist today, just to be inspired here. Now, this is a TVNS. It's a vagus nerve stimulator that stimulates you in the ear. And this is the only vagus nerve stimulator approved as medical device in Europe. Now, if you had exposure to big pharma, you know that in order for a device to be approved as medical device, it needs to pass through a lot of clinical studies, and because of that, a lot of paper administration and so on, and the cost is a little bit higher. However, this one was approved already as medical device for all these conditions, and one of the conditions is also sleep disorder, and our producer is based in Germany. Now, this is another Synzit. It's another vagus nerve stimulator, but it's considered as wellness device because they didn't do the whole paperwork, but they have exactly the same effect on you. So they but just stimulate yourself on the chest, and they have the same properties. And because they are not approved as medical devices, the prices are also a little bit more affordable. By the way, the QR code will take you directly to our page there. And another one that is going to stimulate your vagus nerve here at the pulse. So first was in the ear, another one on the chest, here in the pulse. Same technology, same effect. Now this is low frequency vibration technology that research studies was coming up this May from University of Florida. We demonstrated that with this technology, people just using the smart mattresses like this, for 10 minutes, they reduce their neural connections with 95%. And this is mobile. You install it under the mattress so you can travel. I just mentioned that we will work also with athletes, and these athletes, they can travel with this mattress, with this mobile mattress that you install it under the bed. Exactly the same technology is available in a chair like this, which is useful in the waiting rooms for us. And one thing that I need to mention, we have a promotion these days for any product that we, I think it's Harmonia, yes. Harmonia and any products from this spectrum. When you buy this mount, you get also the Aura Ring, which is monitoring your sleep, Aura Ring for free. And only that Aura Ring, I think, is around 600 euros. So that's coming with a professional chair as well, and it's coming with a chaiselong, exactly the same technology incorporated in this. Then this is the cube, exactly the same, just a different shape. Now, I was slightly mentioning about the light therapy and light and sound therapy. I was very skeptical with this device. I was tremendously sleep deprived, and I said, you're putting me all these lights in my eyes, how I'm gonna sleep then? But it's absolutely tremendously effective. I was falling in love with it, and it's regulating your circadian rhythm. Has a mobile app with different programs there. It's pretty handy. Now, in terms of biometrics monitors, today, apart from all the rings that you have available on the market to measure your sleep and the quality of your sleep, you can identify real time also what's happening in your brain during the daytime, because potentially some of the triggers during the daytime could influence your quality of sleep. And this is a smart EEG band that you use it on the head, and is giving you real-time data, and you don't need to be a doctor or specialist in that, because the outcome is kind of translated in real human language, let's say. The technicality are removed from there. And we work with a lot of coaches, for instance. If you are a coach as profession and people say, or client says to you, oh, your session doesn't do much to me, so some coaches decide to do that session with this band on their clients so they can get real-time data about what's happening there. Now, exactly the same technology exists in these headsets. We all spend most of the time these days in meetings, right? And this is another way to identify if a meeting with your boss or I don't know, an argument with your partner in the day, with your children, influenced some brain waves there. And I just mentioned that we do blood test. This is our Zizino balance test where we check 11 biomarkers, and we know that inflammation it's also a big part of the process of influencing your quality of sleep. This is what you do exactly at home. It looks like this. You get it a kit like this home, you do it yourself, and we ship it by post to Oslo. Now, why we measure the inflammation? We know that omega-6 and omega-3, they are playing a key factor at the cell level, and these two fatty acids that are absolutely crucial for the good functioning of your cells. We do not produce them as a body, we need to take them from external sources. And we know that omega-6 generates inflammation, omega-3 reduce inflammation. They are both necessary for us, but into the right ratio. And we've seen with the database that we have today that in average in Europe we are scoring at 15 to 1, so very high level of inflammation, while in US we are at 40 to 1, and normally we should be around below 3 to 1. Myself, when I did the test, I was 24 to 1. Now, when these two numbers are so skyrocketing, what's happening? The membrane of the cells gets hardened. And the role of that membrane is to allow nutrients to enter in and to allow waste to get released. Now, the moment you restrict that function, it's like you will try to pour water through the covers of a book. It's not proper absorptions, right? And now your cells are constantly intoxicated and constantly hungry because they cannot release waste, they cannot absorb. And that's manifesting in all kinds of conditions, including brain fog, anxiety, depression, including sleep deprivation. But then how can you know unless you test it? And here is the test, the 4 tests that you can do it at home, also for the gut health test. And we tell you the exact biomarkers. We have the largest cellular database in the world. We did over 1.7 million tests worldwide. And in Europe, we are a little bit better compared to the rest of the world, but still 95% of the population we tested, they don't pass such a test. While on the global stage, even worse, 97%. Then what is the solution that we offer here? It's called Balance Oil. It's 60% fish oil, 40% olive oil. And on that combination, we also have a patent. And that's what we do. We test you, we put you on the product for 120 days, and we test you second time 120 days later. So we show you that it's working for you in 120 days. Why is 120 days? Because that's the timeline for your blood cells to completely renew. There is no point to test you before that. And another product that we love in this condition with the sleep deprivation, I absolutely love saffron. It's a precursor of serotonin. Serotonin we know, but Philippe maybe will tell you a little bit about that. It's the precursor of, the serotonin is the hormone of bien-être, or the well-being, right? And with Viva, we stimulate that. And it's neurotropic. We call it a spa for the mind. If you take it during the day, it helps you to focus, to concentrate. I just took 2 of them before starting this call here to be sharpened on the focus. And if you take it at night, it helps you to sleep. And there is no side effects. It has 20 minutes to kick in. It's not like SSRIs or antidepressant, which you need to take them for 2 long weeks. And you can quit it at any time, because it doesn't have any withdrawing effect, so it doesn't create dependency. Now, here is the lab where we send our blood work. It's based in Oslo, and all these universities, they do the blood work with them. Harvard, Cambridge, King's College London is one of the most prestigious dry blood tests in the world, lab. They do actually 6,000 tests a day. And now, if you say, well, Dorina, all this costs me money, we want you to leave this session a little bit inspired and give a try also to some tips here. First is try to use the sleep restriction, cost you nothing in case you're in that situation where you not club together the sleeping hours. Use the breathing exercise. I learned meditation back in India, but even sometimes, even if I'm sleeping completely drug-free these days for more than 2 years, sometimes I need to practice some of these tips. So like breathing exercise, inhaling 4 times in, keeping your breath for 4 times, and exhaling for 6 times. And doing that, it's what is the reasoning for that? It's one natural way to stimulate your vagus nerve. So if you say to buy all these devices to stimulate my nerve, it's cost me money. Well, that's a natural way and free way that you can do that, but you need to be conscious and to repeat doing it times and again to stimulate your vagus nerve. Another technique is to scan your body, right? From head to toes and back and forth. That's another technique to enter in your body, to focus in your body and let go from the mind side. Or mind walking. Try to imagine get a nice picture of an environment that reminds you good memories, and sitting in bed trying to walk through that environment that you have in your head. Now, that being said, our call to action is to sleep like your life depends on it, because it really does. And because you made it up to this stage, we want to make it worth for yourself here. And with this promo code, which is Master Sleep, you will get 10% discount on any one of the purchases on our shop. And that's valid only for people in our webinars. Try to use that. With that being said, I'm stopping in here. If you have any questions in the chat, I will try to answer. Try to follow us on social media. Stay close to the fire and do not get discouraged, because you can come even out of that type of addiction. If I did it, I'm sure you can do it as well. And with that being said, I think I will pass over the floor to Philippe to walk us through his story. His side of the story.
Hello. Now I noticed that my microphone was on all the time, but I hope that did not disturb anything on your telling, Dorina. So, welcome everyone. I'm so happy to see you all here this evening. First of all, I'm going to try to get my slides shared. Let's see if I can manage that. Like this. So what happens when
we are okay? We see you.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So, and then you see when I push F5. Let's see what happens. Like this?
Yeah. Awesome.
Okay, it's completely visible?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm not as fast with words as Dorina is, so I'm going to try to do my best. I don't speak English all day of every day, so that's why I'm going to try it this way. So, though you have already heard so many things here this evening, and you have already tried, because otherwise you was not here, that sleep is something that is very, very important. And maybe you have tried already so many things, like for your sleep hygiene, like taking supplements or drinking tea or meditation apps or breathing exercises, and also like going earlier to bed, like Dorina told, with the sleep restriction, avoiding screens. That's also very important before you go to sleep. And but most of the time we see that our body does not always cooperate. So tonight, I'm not going to give you another list of sleeping tips, because you already know them, a lot of them. So what I want to do actually tonight is to understand sleep and see it from another angle. So not as something that happens during the night, but something that is deeply connected to how your body, your mind, and your nervous system have been living during the day. Because often, very often, sleep does not begin when we put our head on our pillow. Sleep begins much earlier. It begins when your nervous system feels how your nervous system feels, what your nervous system feels during the day. Sometimes, like, we feel how we carry stress, or how we work with how we deal with pressure or emotions or worries that we have, and how we control our safety. So the central question is not from how do I sleep better, but what does my body need? What does my body need to feel safe enough? What does my body need to feel safe enough? So that's why I'm going to see my next slide, if this works like this. So yes. So I need to start letting go. I want to let go things. So not everything that we do is psychological. Um, Sometimes sleep problems are also connected with medical factors, and we cannot go out of this, like pain, if you need medication, or hormonal changes, or sleep apnea, or neurological issues, also like things like depression, anxiety, trauma, and all these things. They all have their influence on our sleep. And I don't want to go beyond medical diagnosis that some people had, but what I have discovered in my work as psychologist is that even when a lot of these practical medical things are involved, our nervous system, like what Dorita said, also with the nervous virus, and vagal nerve. So this always plays a very important role into our system. So this sleep is not only like a biological function, it's also some kind state of surrender. And surrender is very difficult when the body is still in protection mode. Let's go for the next slide. So most times we see like sleep like being a performance. It's like a trap, because we are thinking, yes, I must sleep now. I need 7 or 8 hours of sleep, and if I don't sleep tonight, how will I function tomorrow? Because that was very interesting. Also, what Dorina told, like what you say, I have my qualities. What is a good sleep quality? But sometimes we start thinking, what is wrong with me? And mostly sleep quality measured is like, how do I function the next day? Okay? So, and but we also we try to do harder. So we are in our bed and we try harder, we try to relax harder, we try to breathe correctly, we start thinking like, okay, I have to have a lot of positive thoughts. And this is the way on how we try to control the night. Huh? But there is a big but, and that is that sleep does not respond very well to pressure. So sleep is not something that we can force. It's not something like sending an email or having a task done, and that's like solving a problem. So sleep, you can see sleep more as like a door that opens when a system doesn't need and doesn't longer feel to need or to guard the house. Yeah? So sleep is not something you can force. Sleep is something that the body allows. And the body allows sleep when it feels safe enough. So that doesn't mean that our lives has to be perfect, or that we don't have any problems anymore in our life, or that doesn't mean that we need to be completely relaxed all the time. But it means that your nervous system has to receive enough signals so that it can cool down, that it can calm down. So that doesn't mean that we have to solve everything, or that we all the time have to, that there is no danger anymore, or that we have to scan what are we going to do tomorrow, and that sometimes we have the feelings that we have to hold the whole world together, not only our lives, but the lives of our children or our parents, and we have to feel that we have to hold this all together. So that doesn't mean like we have to reframe this so that we can go better in this state of relaxing. I can go to my next. slide. So on this one, we got like 3 special layers on sleep problems. So we distinguish like 3 layers. We have the first layer, and that's the top layer. So that's the biological layer. So this includes many biological items such as light, caffeine, alcohol, movement, or hormones, or temperature, pain, medication, and our circadian rhythm that we have. So this is a very important layer. And then we also have like a second layer. And these are like what we call our bedtime habits. What are our habits when we go into our bed? Like the screen use that we do, going to bed at different times, spending too much time awake in bed, as like Dorina also said, like what you said, like 15, maximum 15 minutes. Bed is only used for sleep. I hope sex too, but not to work in or do other things. So not a place for working or scrolling or worrying. So this layer is also very important. And then we have the third layer, and that is the nervous system layer. And for many people, is this one of the missing problems? Because this is the layer of stress. This is the layer of hypervigilance. This is the layer of worry. This is the layer of emotional overload. This is the layer of unproduced tension, the layer of we want to control everything, but also like we have fear of not sleeping or losing energy for tomorrow and these things. So many things have a lot of problem on this third layer because they still get stuck. And so our nervous system is saying, not yet, be aware, be not to stay alert, not yet. Let's go, don't let go completely. So we are not safe enough because also we are mostly in this weight of tension that we are. So that's why we don't get in this safety mode. So that doesn't mean that we are weak. And it's not that we are doing it wrong. The important thing is that we understand that our body is trying to protect us. Sometimes it does a very bad job on protecting us, our body, and sometimes it's too much. But actually, that is the function. And this helps us understand also why some people can sleep very well and others don't. I'm going to for my next slides. Let's see if I can manage that for my next slide. Yes. So why do I become or did I became a light sleeper? Well, because I wasn't that before. So it's very important that first of all, sleep is not something that is fixed. It can change during your lifetime on how you sleep because our nervous system learns from life. Our nervous system learns from the things that we experience during our lifetime. So, and other people, some people are naturally light sleepers. So their system awakes more easily than, and they don't need so much stimulation to, say, pay attention. And other people's, they have a higher threshold. So their brain can filter more. They can go better with sounds or with something in the environment. The discomfort doesn't wake them so easily. So, but also a person can become a light sleeper. So when you have like through a period of a lot of stress or illness or burnout or trauma or caregiving, even when you get little children and you have to take care of them, or emotional overload or pressure, all these things, your body may have learned to stay much more awake during the night. So it's like your body saying, don't switch off too deeply. Stay ready. Listen, check. That's often why you see when sometimes when there are like little babies that mom she wakes like nothing, and the husband, he can sleep all night snoring, and the mom, she gets awake by the little things that she hear, she gets awake. Okay? Then next part is, so it's not a weakness, it's a learning of our system. So mostly we say, why am I so weak? But it's not that why am I weak? The question is, what has my nervous system learned, and how can I get it better together so my nervous system can learn how to ease and to get more comfort. So it's how can I relax more, and helping to learn that your body has to keep watch all the time. Okay, so I'll go for my next one. This is a very beautiful one. If you can see in the window, you can see this big tiger, and he is not there so by coincidence. He has a function, this tiger. So the first mechanism that we have why our body stays awake is the hyperarousal. So hyperarousal means that our system is activated, that we are alert, that we are ready, and that we are scanning. So it's not a mistake by the body, because our nervous system was not designed to make us all feel happy or productive or peaceful. Our nervous system was designed to keep us alive. So imagine our ancestors, when they were living in nature, and there was some kind of like a lion or a wolf or a tiger or something nearby. The body did not say, okay, let's stay calm and let's have positive thoughts and let's be all happy together. No, the body was telling us, like, stay awake, listen carefully, scan the environment, look for danger, don't miss anything. So, because in that context, being a light sleeper could save your life. You see, the person who heard the crack first in the night, he had better chance of surviving than the one who slept through everything. He get eaten alive because he did not wake up. The one who heard something, he got up and he ran away. So that's our survival instinct, not instinct, it's like a natural selection, that the ones with a light sleep, they survived, and the ones with a very deep sleep, yeah, they all get eaten. So you see that there is like a logical explanation of that on this hyper arousal. Now, but today, who has a tiger in his sleeping room? Is there someone with a tiger or a wolf or a lion in the sleeping room? No. But our nervous system can still detect, like as if there was a tiger, like we are being in danger. And now this can be everything. You can think about many things, like a conflict with your boss, or some quarrel you have with a conflict with your partner, or some pressure, financial pressure, or a child. They have a child sleeping next to your room, and you're like worried, or sometimes we get like a medical diagnosis that we are not happy with, or a phone call you have to make tomorrow. So all these things, they can all be the line in your sleeping room. So so, and means mostly we also have like the fear of going to sleep, that we are worrying about how we are going to how we going to work today, how it's going to do, how we are going to work tomorrow, and if we can manage, yes or no. Thus, our nervous system simply asks, am I in danger of not? And mostly we're not in physical danger, but we are mostly in emotional danger. So that's why our nervous system is trying to protect us. And that is what we have to be aware of. Okay? Let's go further. We have like a second, a second, a second thing, and that is many people see sleep problems. Let's say I'm tired and I'm exhausted, but I still cannot sleep. And that is a very important one also, because when you have like a very productive day and you have been working and running from here and running to there and running all these places and having all these things and a lot of worries, huh, then quiet in the night can be very confronting. Because during the day, we're like moving all the time, being busy all the time, and that's also some kind of, let's say, escape. But at night, when we are like in our bed, there's no movement, there's no distraction, there's no one to take care of, we have no task to finish. So then our body starts speaking, because then through sometimes through tension, sometimes through thoughts, sometimes through fear. So we have the inability to switch off. So the night often reveals what the day has been carrying. And that's why we can feel deeply tired, but still not feel safe. And when the body does not feel safe, then the tiredness is mostly not enough to give you sleep. Okay, so then the next part, the second mechanism is that bed can be become a battlefield. At the beginning, the bed is not a place of rest. At the beginning, the bed is a place of rest, but then when we cannot sleep, and then the bed becomes a battlefield. Huh? It's a place where we struggle, where we're thinking, where these things that we lose control. So even before we are in bed, our nervous system starts preparing for another difficult night. And the paradox appears: the harder you try to sleep, the more awake you become. Uh-huh. So it's not that the bed changed, but it's like it says here, it's like the meaning of the bed has changed. The harder you try to sleep, the more awake you become. So the night, instead of a place of rest, is becoming like an enemy. Okay? So, the unfinished day, the third the third part, the third mechanism is the unfinished day. So that means that many people go to bed and sometimes what had no space during the day often speaks at night. So we have so many things that we did, and so many things that still are in our head, and they open in the night, and so they start speaking to us, and we want to do all these things. So something inside of us is waiting for the space to come out. Okay, so if we see some things that maybe we can see for 5 daytime doors, back to sleep. So what can be a daytime door that we can use to refine our sleep in the night? So first one is anchor the morning. So that's what Dorina also said. Like these cold showers or these things you do in the morning, just give your body the signal that it is morning. Your body needs rhythm. So you need a rhythm, and then so that your body knows that the day started. Second thing is lower your baseline. That means that you find like pauses during the day. You just don't function all the time, and then when it's 11 p.m., you say like, okay, now I'm going to relax and now I'm going to sleep. So you learn your body to relax also some light points during the day so that you can relax there. Right? So not big rituals, but just small pauses. You can find a lot of things on that, like just like the breathing or the also like working with your jaw, so that your nervous system learns that you can learn your nervous system how to relax, and it's very important. So yeah, you have these relaxing points during the day. Also, like giving worry a space, give worry a space. So don't wait until you go to sleep to think about your problems. If you give it like a place during the day, you just take like a little notebook or something, and then you write down all these things that are on your mind. So you write them down, but you can also then close the book And you had your time on doing this. So you close this book and you say, okay, now I did my time in worrying, I did my time in thinking on these things, and you can close it off. Yeah. Also, the fourth one, create a transition. So if you create a transition moment, if you go directly from your Netflix series right into your bed, maybe there is still some tension or stuff that you have from your series on your mind, or when you take like you just slowly cool down so that you get the time just to be relaxed, more relaxed. And then the fifth one is like stop fighting sleep. So this is a very difficult one. I also feel this myself. Look, I must sleep. Look, it is already 2 o'clock and I'm not sleeping. And tomorrow I have to do this and I have to do that. So then it's like actually you're just bringing up tension, and the tension just prevents you from better sleep. Okay, so then we go to the next one, and it's almost one of the last. So we have to learn, actually, the main point is that we have to learn to teach our body the language of safety. So we're not trying to force relaxation, but what we do is offering the nervous system a memory of safety. So you give your body a different signal. So if you like, I would do like what 1 or 2 minutes. It can go very fast. That I can learn you on what you can do to get your body into safety. Is that okay? Just we do like a little exercise now. Just how you can give your body a different signal. So you can keep your eyes open or you can keep it closed, whatever it feels most comfortable. But just notice that you're here and feel the support underneath you. Feel the chair, feel the floor, feel the contact points of your body. And just notice on how your breathing is, and gently allow yourself to make your breathing a bit longer. Just very slow, like breathing in and then breathing out, and always like a bit softer. And if your body receives like 1% of the data release, now look around the room and let your eyes move gently and notice the space around you. And what is very important for you is that you understand that there's no immediate danger, that you're like very safe in the place where you are now. And so you're here, and you can bring your mind just to a place, you can bring your body or your mind just to a place which is very safe for you. And it does not have to be perfect. Maybe it's a place somewhere in nature, or it is a room, or it is like some place you were like on holiday, or a memory with someone, or a moment with your animal. So you can just go wherever you want to go and just pick for you that moment and try to see what is there, try to feel what is there. Try to see what is happening there. But just let all the things go. What you see, what you hear, how does the air feel there? Is it warm? Is it cool? Do you feel whether you feel like warmth? And then just notice how your body is connecting with that place. And notice how you see that your breathing get more relaxed, and that your shoulders get down, and that your face and your chest, that they just, so that's just very simple to offer our nervous system a memory of safety. And you can learn to anchor that into a rhythm during the day. And if you do that, if you practice that a few times a day, You can also take like a song or something that you liked as a kid, or and what brings you a lot of good vibes and good memory. This helps just your body in an instant to relax. So finally, what we have to understand, we are all like bad sleepers, but that doesn't mean that we are broken. Huh? We are not broken. Our body is not our enemy. It's just trying to protect us. Huh? And what we do is doing just trying to find the right things to do during the night. So we just need better signals. So that's why it's like our psychological awareness is important, and that our emotional regulation is important, and that our daily rhythm is important, and also that we try to clean out the things that disturb our harmony in our life. If we can clean them out, that also helps a lot for us to give our nervous system the support and the thing that the body needs just to relax more. So our body is not our enemy. Our body is trying to protect us. So we do not think about how we can force ourselves to sleep. But what we can ask yourself is, what does my body need to feel safe enough to have a good night of sleep? Okay, so that was my part for this evening.
Amazing, Philippe. I truly love it. So, teaching your body the language of safety, that's my main takeaway. A wonderful session. If anybody has questions, either use the chat or don't be shy, open the mic. Or if that's too much, we can understand that. Don't hesitate to reach out to us after this session at any time. We are here to be supportive, and that's the whole intention why we organize these webinars. We try to keep the rhythm of twice a month. We call them all Master the Nine with the Day, and each time we have a different wonderful guests. Like today, we had our wonderful Philippe in here. And yeah, if you have questions or suggestions on how would you prefer to run these webinars, please reach out. We are open to all kind of ideas. Our main interest is to be as supportive as possible to anyone in this condition. And with that being said, if there are no other questions, we wish you a very restful night ahead, and stay close to the fire.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Dorina, for also your explanation on all these things. Thank you for inviting me in your session.
Yeah, thank you, Philippe. There is a question in the chat. I think it's expressed in Dutch. If you can help me with that.
Okay. I can stay a bit longer if so. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you all. So Cindy has a question. Do you see the question from Cindy, Philippe?
Yes, I saw it. You
Okay.
want this question here, Cindy, or you want that after the session? After? Or here? Not a session. After the session. Okay.
Okay.
So we can close down?
Yes. Have a lovely day.